Ever wonder why certain gear, moves, or even substances are strictly off-limits in the NFL? In the next 20 minutes, we're tackling everything the league has banned, past, present, and maybe the future. Let's kick off with a game changer that shaped NFL culture and caused more than a few sticky situations. Deflategate, the pressure of underinflated footballs. If Spygate put the Patriots under a microscope, Deflategate practically set that microscope on fire. In the 2014 to 2015 AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts, officials found that several footballs used by the New England Patriots were under the league's minimum air pressure of 12.5 psi. According to the Wells report, these balls measured at around 1 to 2 psi below the requirement. Quarterback Tom Brady was suspected of orchestrating or at least being aware of the deflation, presumably to gain a better grip in cold, wet conditions. The NFL hammered down with a 4-game suspension for Brady, a $1 million fine for the Patriots, and the loss of 2 draft picks. The scandal dominated sports media for months. Even casual fans were tossing around terms like ideal gas law, as Patriots supporters argued that weather conditions naturally lowered the football's pressure. The league, however, concluded that there was enough circumstantial evidence to imply tampering. While the Patriots still went on to win Super Bowl 49, the Deflategate saga continued in court, with Brady appealing his suspension. After a seesaw legal battle, the suspension was ultimately enforced at the start of the 2016 season. Brady returned with a vengeance, leading the Patriots to another Super Bowl victory that year. Yet, the stigma of Deflategate hasn't disappeared entirely. Critics say it tarnished the Pats dynasty further, while supporters believe the punishment was excessive. The NFL's rules about ball inflation are explicit. Each team is responsible for providing properly inflated footballs, inspected and approved by officials before the game. Once the officiating crew signs off, no unauthorized personnel can alter the footballs. The fiasco spotlighted just how detailed the rulebook is and reminded everyone that even small violations could lead to big consequences. Whether you see it as a minor infraction blown out of proportion or a genuine attempt to bend the rules, Deflategate remains one of the most talked about bans in NFL history. It underscores the league's mantra: if there's a rule, even about a few psi of air, you'd better follow it to the letter. Hope you found this breakdown of everything the NFL has banned both fun and informative. From illegal tackles to bounties, from sticky substances to deflated footballs, the league leaves no stone unturned in keeping the game fair and exciting. When all is said and done, each ban reminds us that in pro football, even the tiniest edge can spark big controversy. If you love hearing more about the wild side of the NFL, smash that subscribe button and join our football family, leading with the helmet, spearing and targeting the wrong way. In a league as physical as the NFL, it's surprising it took so long to clarify rules against using the helmet as a weapon. While spearing and targeting are more commonly spelled out in college football rules, the NFL has consistently moved to penalize and fine players for initiating contact with the crown of the helmet. According to the NFL rulebook updates in 2018, lowering your head to initiate contact against an opponent is a foul. Historically, players launched themselves head first to deliver a punishing blow. This tactic was especially prominent among safeties and linebackers trying to separate receivers from the ball. Over time, medical data on concussions and spinal injuries mounted. The league responded by forbidding hits where a player deliberately drives the crown of their helmet into an opponent's body. We see it called a personal foul these days, often accompanied by slow-motion replays that show head-on collisions. Not everyone is thrilled. Defenders argue that in a split-second moment, it's impossible to always keep your head up, especially if an offensive player lowers their body at the last second. Critics say the NFL's rules still aren't as explicit as the NCAA's targeting guidelines, which can lead to ejections. In the NFL, ejections for helmet-related hits are less common, but fines and even suspensions for repeat offenders aren't. Players like Vontaze Burfict have become poster children for egregious helmet hits, racking up multiple suspensions. The repeated film study of these collisions can get pretty grim. Nobody wants to see a star athlete carted off the field due to a head or neck injury. By penalizing helmet-led tackles, the NFL aims to reduce dangerous collisions that can cause lasting harm. This rule has been somewhat successful, though it's still evolving. You'll notice that defensive players increasingly go for a rugby-style tackle, leading with shoulders and wrapping up, rather than delivering a highlight reel headshot. While helmet-to-helmet collisions aren't entirely gone, the ban on spearing and launching has made them less prevalent and less celebrated. Spygate. Filming signals from the wrong spot. Nothing says competitive advantage like knowing what play your opponent is about to call. That's essentially the logic behind the Patriots' infamous Spygate scandal in 2007. The NFL has rules specifying where and how teams can film games and practices. Recording an opponent's sideline signals from unauthorized locations is strictly banned. According to NFL policy, video recording devices aren't allowed in the coach's booth, locker room, sidelines, or other areas accessible to club staff members during the game. The Patriots were caught filming the New York Jets' defensive signals from a location on the sideline at Giants Stadium. Head coach Bill Belichick insisted he interpreted the rules differently, but Commissioner Roger Goodell wasn't buying it. The league smacked the Patriots with a $250,000 fine and stripped them of a first-round draft pick in the 2008 NFL Draft. Belichick himself was fined $500,000, an NFL record for a coach. The scandal tarnished the Patriots' impressive legacy, with critics suggesting their early 2000s dynasty might have had an unfair edge. While Belichick remains one of the most successful coaches in NFL history, Spygate often rears its head in discussions about the legitimacy of those Super Bowl wins. Then came Spygate 2.0 rumors in 2019, involving a Patriots production crew filming the Cincinnati Bengals sideline. Though the team claimed it was just for a web series on scouting, the NFL did investigate and issued additional fines, but found no conclusive evidence of a coordinated cheating strategy. Regardless, the rule is clear. Film your own team's signals all you want, but capturing another team's signals from a non-public vantage point is against league policy. Teams are allowed to film from certain designated areas, typically high above the field, like in a press box, where all 22 footage is standard practice. Doing it surreptitiously from the sideline or a locker room corridor, that's a surefire way to get hammered by the league office. For fans who relish a good conspiracy theory, Spygate is the gift that keeps on giving. But in the eyes of the NFL, it's simply a banned activity that threatens the integrity of the competition. Customized gear. From tinted visors to crazy cleats. An NFL uniform might seem straightforward, but the league has a lengthy rulebook dedicated to what players can and can't wear on the field. One key no-no is unapproved tinted visors. The NFL bans heavily tinted or reflective shields unless a player has a documented medical condition. This rule was established because trainers and medical personnel need to see a player's eyes if there's a potential injury. According to NFL Communications, the league believes darker visors could slow down on-field medical evaluations for concussions or other trauma. Then there are the cleats. While current rules do allow limited expression, particularly during the My Cause, My Cleats campaign, most of the season demands uniformity. If a player rocks flamboyant, multicolored footwear that doesn't match the team's primary colors or isn't cleared by the league, they risk fines. In the past, players like DeAndre Hopkins and Odell Beckham Jr. made headlines with custom-designed cleats that either flaunted unique artwork or honored personal causes. The NFL's marketing and uniform guidelines maintain that brand logos must be from official sponsors and match the uniform code. Anything else might cost thousands in fines. Face masks also have rules. At one point, players tried wearing elaborate, customized grills that look straight out of a science fiction movie. The NFL cracked down in 2014, only allowing certain face mask designs that meet safety criteria. If a player wants a more creative design, they need special permission and must prove it won't compromise structural integrity. Even undershirts, towels, and armbands come under scrutiny. Excess branding or political messages can incur penalties. The league's stance is that fans tune in to watch football, not an endless parade of personal statements or unauthorized ads. Players can get approval for certain tributes, like wearing pink gear for breast cancer awareness during designated times, but they can't just wing it. Naturally, some question whether the rules are too strict. The NFL tries to strike a balance, protect uniformity, brand partnerships, and on-field safety, while still allowing occasional personal flair. Step out of line, though, and the fine department will be calling when winning at all costs crosses the line. Nothing shakes a league's foundation like a scandal, and the New Orleans Saints bounty gate in 2012 was seismic. Bounties, where coaches or players offer cash rewards for big hits or injuring opponents, are strictly forbidden by the NFL. Yet, they've reportedly been around in hushed tones for years. According to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell's official statement at the time, the Saints coaching staff had created a program that paid defensive players for hits that knocked opponents out of games. This revelation shocked fans, especially because it validated rumors that some teams rewarded particularly punishing tackles. Defensive coordinator Greg Williams was said to have administered the system, encouraging his players with envelopes of cash for card-offs and knockouts. The investigation led to severe punishments. Greg Williams was indefinitely suspended, later reinstated. Head coach Sean Payton was suspended for the entire 2012 season, and the team was fined $500,000. Several players faced suspensions, though some were later reduced or overturned on appeal. The reason behind the ban is straightforward. A monetary incentive for injuring others is contrary to sportsmanship and the NFL's emphasis on safety. Goodell and league officials hammered the Saints, not just for the act itself, but also for the alleged attempts to cover it up, showcasing how seriously the NFL takes such violations. Though Bountygate was the highest profile case, rumors swirl that other teams had their own pay-for-performance type deals, albeit on a smaller scale. Since the scandal, the league has doubled down on its stance. Any evidence of a bounty program results in heavy fines, suspensions, and potential draft pick losses. The NFL even encourages anonymous reporting of such schemes, ensuring players or staff have a way to blow the whistle without fear of reprisal. I'm sure you'll agree, the concept of awarding cash for devastating hits has no place in modern football. Defense may be about aggression, but crossing the line into malicious intent isn't part of the job description. If there was any ambiguity before, Bountygate made it clear. Bounties are a one-way ticket to heavy sanctions, clothesline tackles, and head slaps. The hits that had to go. Before the NFL became laser-focused on player safety, you'd see highlight reels showcasing defenders literally clotheslining ball carriers at full sprint, or pass rushers smacking offensive linemen upside the helmet. Legendary defensive end Deacon Jones was notorious for the head slap, a move he popularized in the 1960s and 1970s to keep linemen off balance. It was vicious, it was effective, and it eventually got banned. According to archival footage and NFL Network documentaries, Jones would slap opponents so hard they'd be dazed for a few seconds, plenty of time for him to blow by. By 1977, the league recognized that repeated blows to the head could cause serious harm, so head slaps were outlawed. Clothesline tackles, where a defender extends an arm horizontally to slam into a runner's neck or chest area, soon followed into the realm of illegal hits. The NFL added these to the unnecessary roughness category, citing the high injury risk. In classic film clips, you can see ball carriers flipping head over heels after being clotheslined, an image that's become iconic but also cringe-inducing. These bans might disappoint fans nostalgic for old-school toughness, but the NFL had to adapt. A clothesline can lead to broken collarbones, windpipe damage, or concussions. As for the head slap, repeated impacts to the skull only magnify the long long-term risks of brain injuries, since players are bigger, faster, and stronger today. Allowing these hits would be a recipe for disaster. Defensive coaches now teach form tackles. Keep your head up, wrap the ball carrier, and drive through with your legs. You might see a penalty for a clothesline-like tackle if the refs determine the defender extended an arm in a dangerous horizontal fashion. Even accidental contact near the head area can cost a team 15 yards. Though some fans lament the softening of the game, the NFL's decision to eliminate these high-risk plays has likely prolonged many careers. According to player safety research shared by the NFL, the rate of severe neck and head injuries has dropped significantly since these moves left the legal playbook. The horse collar tackle, Roy Williams' legacy. For decades, some of the most brutal tackles in football were considered fair game, but a specific technique became so notorious that the league finally said, enough. The horse collar tackle involves grabbing the back or inside of a ball carrier's shoulder pads and yanking the runner down from behind. It was banned in 2005, largely due to a spate of injuries associated with Dallas Cowboys safety Roy Williams. According to Sports Illustrated, Williams was linked to at least 4 major injuries caused by his repeated use of the technique in a single season. The risk lies in how the tackler's body weight and force come crashing down on the ball carrier's legs or ankles, often causing severe knee or ankle injuries. Remember the outcry when Terrell Owens suffered a broken leg and sprained ankle from this tackle? That incident amplified calls for a ban. Although there were arguments from old-school fans who believed it was just part of the game's physicality, the NFL took a clear stance favoring safety. Under the new rule, a horse collar tackle leads to a 15-yard penalty and potentially a fine if deemed flagrant. Over time, the rule expanded to ban the maneuver on quarterbacks in the pocket and on special teams plays. The league has also specified that hooking a player's collar from the side or front can still constitute a penalty if it resembles the same dangerous motion. While fans can debate how defensive players are being handcuffed, the stats on injuries speak loudly. Fewer catastrophic ankle and knee injuries are reported since the ban. Players have adapted, employing safer tackling techniques, like wrapping up around the waist or thighs. In the modern NFL, you might still see a borderline horse collar tackle flagged if the official believes the defender's hand slipped in the back of the pads. Usually, a slow-motion replay on Sunday broadcasts will confirm the call, or spark endless social media debates. Love or hate the restriction, there's no denying that the horse collar tackle ban is a prime example of how the league prioritizes reducing high-risk plays. Performance-enhancing substances, a strict no-go. The NFL's policy on banned substances is probably the strictest in all of football. From anabolic steroids to human growth hormone and certain stimulants, the list is extensive. This official ban stems from the league's desire to maintain an even playing field and protect player health. According to the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances, any violation typically results in a suspension without pay, fines, and an immediate red flag on a player's reputation. One of the earliest wake-up calls came in the late 1980s and early 1990s, as doping scandals in other sports, like the Olympics, shined a spotlight on performance enhancers. The NFL, facing a wave of bigger, faster players, realized it needed robust testing to prevent steroid-fueled arms races. Over time, the league added more substances to the banned list, including certain diuretics that can mask steroid use. Big names have been caught. Sean Merriman, the former Chargers linebacker, was suspended in 2006. DeAndre Hopkins faced a 6-game suspension in 2022 after testing positive for a banned substance, although he maintained he was unaware of ingesting it. According to ESPN coverage of these incidents, players often claim they accidentally consumed contaminated supplements. The league stance: it's each player's responsibility to know exactly what goes into their body. Random drug tests can happen at almost any point point during the year. There are comedic stories of players getting tested right after a career game, or a suspicious muscle gain in the offseason. Though some fans joke that the NFL's random test always seems suspiciously timed, the rules are enforced across the board. A lesser-known angle is that the policy also covers certain non-prescription stimulants like ephedrine if levels exceed the allowed threshold. Even the overconsumption of caffeine-laden products can cause a player to test positive if it crosses certain limit. The NFL is unyielding on this, believing it's the only way to ensure fair competition and player longevity. Taking a banned substance, knowingly or not, risks not just a suspension, but also a tarnished legacy. Celebrations. When the fun went too far. Touchdowns can be electrifying, but the NFL has a complicated history with how players celebrate them. There was a time when even the mildest bit of choreography could draw a penalty flag. According to NFL Rulebook Section 4, excessive or prolonged celebrations were penalized. After a spike in elaborate displays back in the early 2000s, Terrell Owens famously pulled a Sharpie out of his sock to autograph a ball, while Joe Horn whipped out a hidden cell phone to make a call in the end zone. These antics were hilarious to many fans, but rubbed league officials the wrong way. The NFL cracked down, handing out fines and implementing strict rules limiting group celebrations or the use of props. Chad Ochocinco, no stranger to pushing the envelope, tested these rules repeatedly. He once proposed celebrating with an actual live horse on the sideline, which never happened. But imagine the meltdown that would have caused. Over time, players pushed back, arguing that celebrations fueled excitement and reflected the game's passion. In 2017, the league finally loosened the reins. You can now see group dances, leaps into the stands, or even creative routines. However, certain displays remain banned, like sexually suggestive moves. Antonio Brown learned this after his twerking fiasco, using objects as props, like the infamous phone call or a hidden sign, can still trigger penalties unless they fall under the league's recently broadened fun but not offensive scope. While the rules have relaxed, the NFL still sets boundaries. Excessive celebration is all about subjective interpretation by the referees. If it's deemed disrespectful or wastes too much time, out comes the yellow laundry. The interesting part, as reported by ESPN and other outlets, is that fans generally favor the more relaxed approach, and it seems the league benefits from the viral moments these choreographed group dances generate. So, if you see a comedic conga line in the end zone, rest assured it's mostly legal now. But bust out a prop, and you might be handing your opponent 15 yards in penalty freebies. Before we move on to the next one in the list, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. Thanks to all of you who do. Number 10. Stick'em, the original sticky business. Back in the late 1970s, if you tuned in to an Oakland Raiders game, you might have noticed something peculiar. Defenders' hands and forearms glistening as if dipped in syrup. That substance was Stick'em, a super adhesive goop players slathered on themselves or their gear to gain a monstrous advantage in catching or swatting the football. Raiders cornerback Lester Hayes famously used it to amass a league-leading 13 interceptions in 1980. According to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and various interviews, Hayes practically bathed in the stuff, leaving other players complaining that every ball he touched was coated in residue. The NFL decided this was too great an edge and too messy, so it banned Stick'em in 1981. Officially, it's covered under the league's rules against using foreign substances on the ball or equipment. Defenders weren't the only ones employing it. Receivers found it helpful too. Fred Biletnikoff was another big name associated with Stickum, but Hayes was so known for it that he was nicknamed the Judge, presumably because he hammered receivers and then judged whether they'd get the ball back squeaky clean. Spoiler, they rarely did. This ban changed the game because the grip advantage was just too dramatic. From the league's viewpoint, preserving fair play outweighed any entertainment factor of miracle catches. Modern wideouts rely on high-tech gloves instead, which are tacky by design, but still legal under league regulations. Interestingly, those gloves can provide an effect reminiscent of Stickum, though nowhere near the comedic extremes of yesteryear. Some fans still debate how big an impact the ban had on players' stats. Lester Hayes himself admitted that after losing Stickum, he had to adapt his style, focusing more on technique rather than adhesives. The NFL doesn't mess around. Today, referees can dole out penalties, fines, or even suspensions if a player dares to resurrect the Stickum tradition. If you see a modern player with suspiciously sticky hands, rest assured an equipment check is probably coming.